Hey, welcome back to the debunk, where we simplify software engineering and programming for the beginners. Today we'll go through the popular question I see a lot of the time is, do I need an expensive laptop for the programming? And I can tell you this is like totally nonsense. If you think that you need an expensive MacBook Pro to start programming, don't be discouraged by seeing these technical reviews or Instagram photos where every fancy developer is sitting with a MacBook. No, you actually don't need an expensive laptop to do that, and I will tell you why exactly. Okay, let's cut through the noise and go straight to the information. So, myth busting, you don't need a fancy laptop to start programming. First thing first, if you're just starting with the programming, and especially with the front end or just basic general coding, you don't need a fancy, expensive, high-performance laptop or computer. Unlike video editing, gaming, or crypto mining, where the task is actually chewing your resources of your computer, programming is basically running your text editor, terminal, and the browser. That's pretty much it. And any laptop within the budget range under the $1,000 with the good reviews on Amazon will do just fine. Just pick up your personal preference and go from there. When going through the laptop for the programming you need, let's just go through the basic minimum you actually need for the laptop of the specification. So the screen size should be around 15 so it should be comfortable for you to scroll between the code, terminal, and the browser, and it should be fit enough to the screen. In terms of the RAM memory, 8 GB of RAM minimum should do the job. If you can buy 16, that will be even better. In terms of the drive, go with a solid state drive. This is like de facto by default. The second drive could be a classic hard drive, but the main one ideally should be SSD. This is for the high speed for the writing and copying files. It's so much cheaper these days. Just go with the SSD, and maybe check for the battery if you're considering to be outside a lot, but I never code outside. I just code in home. It's so much quieter. And bonus, in case you have an extra money and you want to spending it better, not on a laptop but on external screen, your eyes will thank you when you will be scrolling through the code, a bunch of the code, and when you can actually split your code editor and your browser maybe on the screen, on the laptop screen. That will be so much beneficial, especially with the front end where you want to see your browser at the same time and your code editor. When you type the code, save, and you see instantly refreshed result, that'll be so much better. A second bonus, if you have another extra money which is not laptop as well, I think that's the second best thing of the external monitor. What you want to buy is over-ear that covers your ears headphones. That shouldn't be noise cancelling function. This is not critical. I rarely use noise cancelling, which is like a blocking noise outside. It's my personal experience. I use different laptops for the programming, and especially when I started learning programming, I used laptop around like a $500, which was pretty old. I used laptop around the $1,000, and I can tell you there's not much difference between them. But believe it or not, the only thing when I faced actually performance issue, it was when I was actively searching a job myself through the LinkedIn page. Oh my god, this LinkedIn page these days, they are so much heavy, and maybe any other websites which are so big as LinkedIn. And if you have like a laptop like I had, like a 5-6 years old, it can struggle to go through these pages. Other than that, if you have that laptop old, you can still program and learn pretty well. It will not stop you from learning, believe me. When you might need a better hardware, if you're doing something really advanced like running locally Docker, virtual environments, virtualization, or anything heavy on the backend services, I think that's the case when you want to consider something a little more advanced, maybe like between $1,000 and $1,500. But it's such a rare case and very specific, a little more on advanced level. When you're just starting, if it's a front end or you're just like really just starting out, even with the back end, you rarely need that expensive laptop. So within the $1,000 with the good reviews on the Amazon will do just fine. MacBook versus Windows. If you think that the MacBook is a great laptop, yes, it is. It looks nice and sleek, it's very comfortable, but it's not a necessity for the programming. You don't have to have a laptop to be a good developer. And if you feel pressured that a lot of the developers, they have a nice MacBook laptops and they have this nice photos, or they're sitting in a coffee shop and doing something, I would say like a majority of that developers got their laptops from their companies for free, myself included. with it. So therefore, don't be pressured. MacBook is a nice laptop, especially when it's free. If you're going to buy it on your own, I don't think it's a good investment at the very beginning. It's better to invest difference in external monitor or in good headphones. That's matter most. And in that comparison, Windows or Mac, there's no difference at all. You can even go to Linux. Linux most of the time is free, like Ubuntu. If you feel comfortable, go with that too. There's no preference for the MacBook, believe me. This is just a fancy toy. A beautiful, nice, but it's fancy and expensive. And that should be it to demystify that you need an expensive laptop to start programming. Make sure it just has enough screen size for you to read through the code every day, enough RAM on it, and maybe if you feel you are comfortable to spending a little more, invest in external monitor and a good over-ear headphones. That'll be way more important than going over something fancy. And if you're having some of the laptop which is more or less good, you can start working on this. Or you just, if you want to bonus yourself for learning program, of course you can go and spend some money on it. That's it. That's the answer. You don't have to spend an expensive crazy amount of money to be a good programmer. The actual things you have to be a good programmer or start learning effectively and become a programmer sooner is your dedication to the one thing, is start learning programming, focus, discipline, and commitment to do it daily, every day, and be persistent. Don't just go away from that path. This thing is more important than the hardware. Yeah, let me know in the comments what's your hardware, what's your current laptop. Is it like a fancy MacBook, or it's a Windows, or maybe it's a Linux? Just put your specs in the comments and let other people know that you can do programming just with any laptop or the computer. Yeah, consider leaving me a like so I know this information was useful and help other people and can help other people who are struggling and going with overspending for this expensive MacBooks. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, and consider subscribing to the channel Dev on Mind. There will be way more information about job industry, software engineering, salaries, practical tips, what hardware to use, and overall general information and how to learn programming in general. So thank you for staying up until now, till the end of. Thank you for watching, and I see you later. Bye.